So this video is the first one of a screencast series that I'm going to do to show the process of how to implement a new system or like add on to an existing project. Uh, in my latest conversations with Dr. Bodzi, my advisor, we identified that we needed like a way to further personalize the experience of Watershed Explorers to our users because Watershed Explorers full version is very long and not everyone has about 1 hour to complete the experience in one sitting. So I had this idea to, at the beginning of the experience, the avatar is gonna ask the user how long they have available, uh, and then we will offer four options: 15 minutes, 30, 45, and 60 minutes. And according to this amount of time, we will already uh, start running a coroutine that will keep counting the time while they are using Watershed Explorers. So when time is up, they will be taken back to the post-test scene uh, where they will be able to wrap up the experience within the time that they had claimed they had to use the software, so that we may increase the turnout of user complete answers pre and post tests. I have also laid out here an extra idea that we can improve the Watershed Explorer's data collection experience, uh, but this is extra. I'm going to be focusing only on the T4C system. First thing, we need to create a new project. Choose the correct location. So since we are in August 2022, I'm still saving my projects within my 2022 Unity projects folder, and the name of the project is going to be T4C. So now I can create it. It's not going to be a 3D, so I can select 2D because it's just going to be a canvas with UI elements. I have started the documentation in this Google Doc slides here. I almost committed I made a very big mistake by starting the creation of this add-on in the current Watershed Explorers project, and I was going to rely on using plastic, and then I already had some. It fired back, so I decided to give it a time and gray box the entire project in a new version, a new project, and then complete the system and the documentation, export it, and then implement it in Watershed Explorers or any other project. So from the top of my mind, I know that I need to have a coroutine C# script. I'll have to use Unity's native UI to create the panels and dialogues, a few scenes to test the loading scene method, and I also need to create a Google form for receiving the data. And I have here some a slide for achievements, so whenever I complete something like big steps, I'm gonna write here and perhaps take a snapshot for documentation purposes. I'll check my package manager first to make sure that everything is up to date. Test framework isn't. I'm gonna update this one. Also update version control just in case if I decide to use plastic at the end of the process to save in the cloud a version of the project. I'm also going to update the plugins for the editors, Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio, but I'll be using Visual Studio because I still don't have the expertise to configure Visual Studio Editor to be as helpful as Visual Studio is for me out of the box. I'll check my play mode. The yellow tint is being applied, great. Um, I don't think I can. I'm gonna save here and I'm gonna close and open the project again just to allow Unity to. Wait, what is this? Oh, it's the issue of showing the collab window, I guess. I'm gonna open it again. And we will start. So I'm not gonna mess with sample scene, so I'm gonna duplicate this into scene one, no spaces. I need to have canvas, so I'll be using Text Mesh Pro, but if it starts causing issues, I'll be like I need to use Text Mesh Pro because it's better to visualize and I won't need to be updating the code to update the library to use text, and I can use Text Mesh Pro since the beginning. Oh no, so oh my gosh, I don't want to add more stuff, but let's do this. We need to import the essential uh, files for Text Mesh Pro to work. We have this folder here, it's installed, so it's great. And we already have a canvas with text. The event system came over there. We'll create an empty game object with no transform, if possible. No. Okay. And now in system. So main camera and this event system needs to stay there. I'm gonna duplicate this one here. Ouch. And name it is UI. I need a panel. I'm going to use UI basic sprite. Okay, it can be the background, whatever. So the canvas needs to be screen space camera. I want to have control of what I'm doing. Canvas scale. The resolution I'm using is 1920 by 1080. I will expand, oh no, match width or height, and I'm gonna put in between, so 0.5. So when I'm moving either horizontally or vertical the window, it's gonna adjust. I want to reduce the size of this panel. The gizmos are not active. I want to show where the boundaries are. So I'm adding some padding for the text. Actually, this panel is going to be the dialog box. Now duplicate this to create the avatar info. The avatar info is going to be much smaller. These gizmos are very big, so I'm going to reduce it so it's not in the way. This T4 Text Mesh Pro. It seems the padding is too much from the one I duplicated, so okay. In the character in the center. No. Maybe I can put light with shadows. outline. Then I need to change the one from the name. This is something that I don't still don't know how to use, how to create different versions of the same text mesh. Okay, so I'm gonna use, oh, I already had drop shadow and outline. So the name is going to be, I need to remove this here. The name is gonna be, I want the name to be a shadow. So I want it to be full alpha. I'm already getting like into the rabbit hole because I should be just gray boxing, not doing this. But since I started, it's fine. Okay, this is the Liberation Sense outline. No, this is the. So I'm gonna undo. I'm gonna undo all the text. Sans material, sans material. Let me remove it. Bold. This one I want to have drop shadow. The color is gonna be white. I don't want it to have an outline, just the underlay. The underlay is gonna be full alpha. And just to make the text a little different, I'm going to use these small caps here. And here it's outline. And I'm going to increase the thickness just a little, not too much. Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna put one, it's fine. I also need to have a button. First a panel to open an empty object to hold this two. So I'm gonna select the two, click with the right button and create empty parent. Now I'm gonna tell where I would like this game object to be anchored, which is like the bottom part of the screen. Oops. I don't like these numbers. And here, dialog holder. Inside this dialog holder, we will have a button, Text Mesh Pro. Okay. Let's just test. this canvas, I also need to write the name of the scene just for me to be able to discern. So, scene name. This is scene 1, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna copy and paste the 4 sizes. Not good. I also think I'm going to reduce this dialog box and make it in the middle. Mm. 200 by 50. I'm just gonna make things look a little bit more organized and symmetric. I will not make this button interactable at first. And I'll create a very small animation that is very common across dialogues in video games uh, to show that some action is needed so that the dialogue continues. So we can reuse that in the future if that's the case. I'm gonna insert here an image. This image I'm gonna anchor to the right, bottom right. It's gonna be small, not that small, so 50. I'll change the sprite to something like this. It's good. Although this is from Unity, so it's black. The original one, you can see that the sprite is black, so I cannot apply colors to that. I think the only thing I can do is to create like an outline, but the outline is also going to be kind of black. Let me see if I can put white. No, I can't. That's terrible because the original sprite is black, as you can see here. So I will create, remove this. I'll create a quick image. Let's see where. Maybe I can. I'm gonna use PowerPoint because I love using PowerPoint for these quick, short, you know, 2D things. The only thing I'm gonna put the screen background, the slide background as black, so I can create uh, a white icon so I can see. And then in PowerPoint we have lots of icons like this. I'm gonna find an arrow that is somewhat cute. Yeah, this is also a rabbit hole, but it's okay, I guess. So I'm gonna use this one because it's similar to the one that we had in Unity, this one over here. So I make my life easier and don't fall in the rabbit hole. PowerPoint gives the icons in white first, so you need to change the fields to white. And after you do that, you click with the right button and you save as picture, save as PNG to maintain the transparencies, find where your game is, or save wherever you want. Since I know exactly where the project is, I'm gonna go there. So it's the T4C assets, and then I'm gonna save here, arrow. Once we go to Unity, Unity will add it here. Since it's a 4 by 4 multiple of 2, it's not a multiple of 2. So that's why it's NPOT, not power of 2. We can in, improve the compression of this photo by making it a power of 2. I can make it a power of 2 by resizing that. So I'm going to show the file in Explorer. Or maybe I can, let's see if I can put the max size to be a power of 2. Yes, I could. So I was able to overwrite the max size of this image that I created to be 32 by 32 pixels. And then Unity applies all kinds of compressions, so it is not very heavy for the project. Going back to our image here, I'm going to use my arrow. It's kinda pixelated, so maybe I need to make this max size a little bit bigger. As long as it's power of 2. 256, it's power of 2. So let's see. Tada! See how the quality improved here? If I make it 32, it gets pixelated because I'm stretching the image, but 256 is still power 2 and it's great. So I will add a slide outline. Oh, not an outline, I want to add a shadow. If I can do a shadow here. Shadow, full shadow. And then I need to add an animation. So I'll open the animator window, animation. I'm gonna create an animation for. Once I hit record here, I can make it go a little down, -5. No, no, sorry. 5, 0. Stop, play. It's gonna be very fast. Oh, it's not great. That's exactly what I want. Okay, great. Animation is complete. Close. When we hit play, that animation should start. If it doesn't, it's there, right? So instead of making the button non-interactable, I'm going to temporarily disable this button because I need this uh, image to be the continue thing. So I'll add an event trigger because an image is not a button. A button from Unity already comes with, let me, so a button already comes with this on-click method for us to do whatever we want with it. An image doesn't. So we need to first add an event trigger, then add new event type, and I'm gonna put on click, pointer click. So it's similar to what happens in the button. So once they click this image, I'm going to be calling the function to uh, show the options that I have. I don't have the options yet, so I will create now. Another thing that I have to have is a box for the player. So we'll move this to the center. Based on our recent conversations in the lab, I'll change this to npc info, npc main. Being organized is critical at the beginning of the project, otherwise in the future it gets very terrible to find things. Player info, player name. I will also change the color, I guess, of the player. Oh, this is a nice color. To make sure that whenever the conversation changes, I can communicate who is speaking in the dialog box. I'll try to do everything here without coding to show how we can take advantage of Unity's inspector and visual programming and visual development. But for bigger projects, it's better to create a script to control for changing and these pieces of information. We can see that in the future, but now I'm gonna stick to the gray boxing process. Maybe I'll move this to the right. I'm trying to create a simple interface that can be easily understood. So when the NPC speaks, the arrow is gonna be in the middle. This is gonna be problematic if it were implemented, but let's see if this is gonna work out at the end. But I already am visualizing a constraint because I'm creating one more position for the player to learn where they should be clicking. Uh, or let me see. I can no. I need to have different buttons here to make it to be simple. Otherwise, I will need scripts. Okay, so this is the NPC continue. One that is player continue. Player continue is gonna be in the middle and with this nice blue. I'll remove the background of the dialog box. And I'll add a background picture from our other projects. I'll stretch that to the entire screen and I'll move it to the very top here of the canvas so it can be the background. Let's see, there's no image, but I have this UI mask that may serve. No, it doesn't because it's transparent. Let me find something to use. This one. Oh, I also have my simple UI. So I'm gonna import these two. We can drag and drop like this into the Unity folder. Once we import images, we have always to come here and change the texture type to sprite. It usually comes as default. We need to change it to sprite. Mm, I am going to make it a power of 2 here, but it's not a multiple of 4. I'm gonna show how we fix for that. And this is a pixel, just use as a square, so it's very small, 4 by 4. In order to fix the size of this background, we click with the right button, show in Explorer. I usually use Paint 3D because it's faster. You can see the dimensions are not correct. It's 883 by 562. We need to make it a multiple of 4 in both uh, sizes. Click with the right button, edit with Paint 3D. So this is for Windows users. Mac users will need to find something because I don't know. Like I tried, so I will rely on you, future students or current students who are Mac people, to suggest a solution for this thing. This background was created by Marcos and me, I guess, like in 2011. No, 2021. I'm sorry, last year, when we were starting to use Roblox for rapid prototyping. So I'm gonna reuse this here. I will remove the extraneous information. Done. And now I will edit the canvas. Transparent canvas on. So I will not lock the aspect ratio, and I need to put a value that is multiple of 4. So I'll start with 512. Ooh, I don't need to put multiple 4 on the same size on both uh, width and height. So the width is gonna be 1024, so it's not enough. So let's see, the width is gonna be 512, and the height is going to be 256. Oh no, I don't want that either. Oh, I'm trying to put a multiple of 2, I'm sorry. I just need to make it a multiple of 4. So it's going to be 792 is okay, and 544 should also be okay. Oh, I was very lucky because the cutting that I did here already made the picture be at multiple 4. So I was safe to overwrite, and then if I go back to Unity, it's going to have that message disappear because now it's like a multiple of 4. It is not a multiple of 2, a power of 2 though. It will never be because the original dimensions, width and height, are not a power of 2. Okay, so now in my image here, I can put background. I'll drag this here. I'll remove this white tint that I put, but I'm gonna make it darker. Okay, that's enough of visual improvements. I was just worried about the contrast with these uh, dialog boxes. And perhaps I will also move this to the left. Oops, not this one, because this is just a mock system. I don't need to. 75. That's interesting. This one I need to put to the left. I will also make the NPC become 75. So the idea is to make this different. When the player is speaking, when the NPC is speaking, the player continue will disappear and the player info will disappear. And then the NPC ended speaking and the player will speak, the player will appear and the NPC info will disappear. Not only that, I also will change the color of the dialog box to that cute blue, like this. Oops. So the color of the NPC continue is wrong because it needs to be gray. Okay. Player info, NPC info, dialog box, dialog, and then continue NPC and continue player. And the color needs to be gray. Wait. No, no, no. The dialog box color needs to be gray. I'll save this. So now let's go to visual programming, so to speak. When I hit this arrow here, I want this to activate the next message, which is the players. I don't have that yet. That's terrible. So, because I'm not using programming like scripts, I'll have to create more lines. Or not. Oh, let's see if we can do this with the inspector. So, let's start. When I click here, the NPC continue, I already created an event trigger. So, I will have to have, let's start with the changing the from the NPC box to the player. So I will need to make the player game object active. I will have to make the NPC game object disabled, not enabled. I will also have to make the player info active and the NPC not active. So checked here is true and unchecked is false. This set active function is a variable called boolean. It's a condition. It's true, either true or false. The final thing that two final things that we have to do is to change the color. So I'm gonna get this dialog box which has the color of the sprite. Oops. Play NPC continue. I'll drag the dialog box here and I'll access the image component and change the color if I find it. Material? No. float alpha heat test minimum threshold. It's not alpha. Okay, so I don't know how to change the color of a image like this. Maybe this is not the best way, but what I can do is just show how I would search for that. So we open the browser. uh, Unity inspector event trigger image change color. Change text color for event trigger. How to change image color on script. I don't want to use script. I don't want to use script. Unity image color changing only in the inspector. Let's see. There's a script. No. Messages on render. So uh, send message. Let's see if I can find this in the documentation. Immediate send message. Image.send message. Send message is a trap. Okay, I think I fell in the rabbit hole. I will not be able to change the color without code. So let me see what's happening here so far. So I'll duplicate the dialog box and I'll write player dialog box and NPC dialog box. And then I'll enable the player continue in the dialog box. I'll remove the player continue from the NPC dialog box. And I will also be able to make player info as a child of the player dialog box. Actually, yes, because player name is an image. And NPC info as a child of NPC box. And in the player dialog box, the color needs to be blue. And the text of player I will also change to italics. So it starts with, I'm sorry, I gotta take it. It's Dr. Bodzin. Okay, I'm back. So before the telephone rang, I had just separated every game object that belongs to the NPC dialog box, and I had duplicated that very one to become the player's dialog box. This is gonna make our manual development here on the inspector much simpler because I'll just need to swap one game object, like disable the game object, the NPC, and enable the player. So this is going to be very better. So once we click the NPC continue, I'll delete all of this. I need to enable game object set active true, and I need to disable the NPCs. Game object set active false. And vice versa. If I click the player continue, I'll have to enable first the NPC and disable the player dialog box. Let's see if this is working. I'm gonna save and let's see if it's working. So the scene is running, and if I hit here, it changes to the player. And if I hit here, it changes to the NPC, right? That's what we wanted. What I don't like is how close the text is from the edge. So maybe I'm gonna work a little on the padding. Actually, I will not do that. This is gonna be a prefab video for the future. And this video has become a little long, so it's almost 1 hour. What I'm gonna do is stop the video for now. We set up the project, we set up the hierarchy. We also saw in this video how to import images, how to set up the images so that it's correctly compressed by Unity. We also saw that when we import external media, especially 2D, we need to change from default to 2D and UI and then hit apply. We also saw this message here that Unity, when the image is not a multiple of 4 in the width and the height, there is a yellow alert saying that Unity is not going to be able to compress the image file. So we also saw how to open uh, Paint 3D and edit that image. And when we save the image, the changes are applied straight here. We also saw how to start organizing the hierarchy and how to set up a canvas so that it can stretch and uh, shrink as needed if the window is stretched and shrunk. Um, we also saw how to rename game objects. We also saw how to duplicate game objects and rename them. And we also saw how to enable and disable game objects on the scene and to add an animation to a simple UI object. And finally, we also saw how to add the event trigger here, the event trigger component, so that we can make um, an object like there is not a button to be able to be clickable, and then the define what kind of actions we want to happen when that button is clicked. Woof, there was a lot. So I'll finish this video now, and in the next video we will continue following the plan of action here, which is this is already done like in this tutorial. So I'm gonna next step is going to be putting the options, and I will also start working with the C# script. All right.